purpose of why I wanted to do this podcast and interview with you is to touch base about the detox. And because you're so close to Skip and you're part of the team and you run everything, I just wanted to get a little bit of insight from you, how it's been afterwards, how it was during. And I firstly want to let my viewers know who you are. If you can just do a little introduction for me as to who you are and what you do.
All right. Thank you so much for even having me here. Well, I'm Laura. Swapped careers a few times. We've been working in a law firm in Gibraltar for first part of my career. I've been working in the Romania government before that. And all of that just led me to burnout and breakdown and emotional breakdown. And, you just thought, okay, the grass is greener on the other side, so maybe I have to move countries. So you do that. And then maybe I have to choose career. So choose a different career. So you do that. And then I think my dad hit the nail on the head saying, well, honey, you can keep running, but wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So if you don't sort yourself up, it doesn't matter where you go, what you do, the experience is going to be the same.
Wow.
And that led me, he's been such an inspiration for me. And that led me to, well, I think I was hitting burnout properly maybe 4 years ago. My voice is shaky. Yeah, that was very ugly after. Everything, depression, chronic fatigue, all sorts of things, like literally. And then I came across some of Skip's teachings. I don't know how, I swear to God, I believe in these things called synchronicities, because at my work office, you shouldn't be able to get information from outside third parties unless they get through the system. So I get one of these emails, which, by the way, is so ugly, so unprofessional, so everything coming from Skip. And that's the beauty of Skip, because he is the real deal. I think even I bought into the energy that's behind that, which is the truth. And we usually know, when someone looks very good on paper and the CV and everything, but your gut is like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big shift for me to just trust my gut for the first time. And then I joined them for a few events, and I don't know, in a blink of an eye, I realized, oh my God, I'm leaving the law firm for this. And now we joined forces, running the company with him, trying to make sure that his big message actually gets delivered to the world in a way that also, let's say, the brain is being addressed, because I think one of the biggest programs that we have as a planet is analyzing and criticizing constantly. Even when you don't want, you still evaluate, judge, criticize, and then you label it as good or bad, professional, unprofessional, nice or not so nice. It's like it's non-stop. And I think that's so special about what he has, is that even though that's ongoing in people's brains, something within them pulls into what he has to say. Because if you check us on social media, there is no landing pages, we just have to start to do that, because we understand that's the world that you live into, and if you don't follow the trend, then we kind of fail to allow more people to reach that. So in other words, that's what I'm doing, join forces, and in doing so I had to develop skills that such as helping exercising people, helping transmuting energies, cleaning the DNA, holding the space, transmuting energies, and all other sorts of things that happen behind the scenes. And they're not all events I have to do that. Or if I have, some of them are more intense than others, such as Detox and Amazon. But yeah, that's literally what I do nowadays.
Well, I mean, I can tell you one thing, the detox definitely impacted my life. I feel like I've changed. I feel like I'm not so triggered and angry anymore. To be honest, I don't react the same on an emotional basis. Even though I had such a health scare in Bali and I pushed through it with your help. I'm very honored to have had you there with me. 12 hours later, walking out with a ketosis in hospital, wanting to go be admitted into ICU, and I was, walked out of there 12 hours later, and thanks to you and Skip. And yeah, I might not be as vegan as I want to or as active as I want to after the detox, but it definitely has changed me in subtle ways that I'm starting to notice. So I'm very grateful for you guys. Honestly, it was an amazing experience. And I can't wait until you guys come September. I'm so excited. I have a few basic questions to ask you just to get to know you as a person.
Can I answer your question? But first, can I add something on what you've just said? Because
Yes,
this detox, this last one, out of all of them that I've been attending and hold space for, it is people like you that actually give us the belief and strengthens our connection with God or universe, whatever I call it. God, I don't have an issue with that. I'm so tired of this bullshit. For me, it's God and it works like that. It strengthens our trust in what we do. And you were such a beautiful gift for the whole group to show what's really possible. And I take it with me in my heart wherever I go. It's you were like so vulnerable to put yourself into that place to show what's possible, not only to yourself but to everyone around you, and including us, because we live these miracles event after event. But then someone like you comes, which spiritually has so much strength, and is like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And then you come with these big teachings for everyone around you. And that for me, first things first, I would have never gone into a hospital during a detox because I'm like open wound, I'm hypersensitive as I am. But then thanks to you, so many amazing things, thanks to the amazing things were able to be pulled into the reality that we were co-creating in Bali all together. One of that was personal for me to actually become more of what I knew I could be. And that is, I could feel everyone else's pain in the hospital and I wasn't triggered. I was on a mission. I was like, your spirit is like, she can do it. She can do it. And I had no idea how or what I was going to tell you or what is the thing that's keeping you there or what is it. But in between me and you and Skip and Alex and everyone that's been supporting, we managed to get to the truth. And thank you so much for bringing once more the truth to come to reinforce, because we're humans, so we also doubt every now and then, to come to reinforce that everyone is on the right path. That was so beautiful. I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
oh, such a
And then look at the amazing things that could happen thanks to you. We get in touch with Dawn. We wouldn't have known that Dawn was there.
And
I'm
he's
like, all of that is thanks
inspirational.
to
I've never
you.
met anyone like Don Tolman ever. Such an honor to have met him as well. I'm very honored and very blessed.
You are the trigger for all of that, and it takes a lot of spiritual strength. So before I answer my question, it takes a lot of spiritual strength to understand that nothing is a mistake on this planet, because yes, with the mind we could have judged, but we could have checked with you before you went in there, but we could have done this. No, that's showing us that this is how perfectly imperfect life is, and only in this way it can actually help us manifest what we need to experience. And I was like, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I never had the chance to. I'm so brave. You've been so brave. And yeah, thanks. So
I'm gonna
what was
get
the question?
brave tattooed on me now. I think it should be my life motto.
Yeah, you've been very brave.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's always a pleasure sharing your energy and just you're an inspiration in your own right, honestly.
And for someone like you to actually do the work, because it's not easy, because it's so many, you've been working on so many levels. Okay, there is the body with the diabetes, and that will give you a little bit more of a challenge throughout the detox compared to all of us. And then to that you add the thoughts, and then to that you add the emotions that you've been kept trapping into you and you started to release, and then to that you had your connection with the spirit. And that was so beautiful to see you so bravely working on all of them and not giving up. You're just so tiny and beautiful and you never gave up. That's so beautiful.
I think I love to learn and I love to heal because I know that if you heal, it just gets better. Life just gets so much better if you walk through that darkness and find a little bit of light.
Yeah, exactly what my dad used to say, honey, just go straight through it. And even with these 3 losses, I think the only way you can do it, just go straight through it. Don't think twice, just face it, go through it, and what's on the other end of it, it's absolutely magical. And you hit the nail when you said, when you come back, you change. You can't justify, you can't just put the finger and say, you just feel it. And that's what life is about. You really changed when you're in the same circumstances, but you're not the same person, right? And everything becomes a blessing all of a sudden, or it becomes an awareness, or it becomes a teacher. And it's so beautiful. And I'll tell you one of the things, repeated patterns I've seen after every detox. Everyone that's attended is gonna have to face a massive challenge of a relationship breakup. Like me, I swear to God, I was so nervous to come to this one because after the previous 3 ones, I had 3 people dying, right? So I got paranoid to say, it was my granny that raised me up, my dad in a car crash, and then my granddad. And I was like, no, there's something wrong with this retreat, right? So I thought maybe obviously, that's the paranoid side of the brain. But then you sit in stillness and you understand, have I not been through that, I would have never had the instruments to cope with whatever life has to give to me in order to become what I need to be, in order to deliver on the planet what I keep asking every day that I want to deliver. And it's beautiful. Anyways, I'm gonna shut my big mouth now and follow your
No, I
question.
love it. I love you going on. It just gives people more information, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to inspire, motivate, and change people's lives by connecting one another together,
And the other thing is because I don't know if it's happening to you, but obviously there is still, as we mentioned, the pattern of judging and evaluating continuously. So people think that the people that have something to say have to have a certain age and a certain face and a certain background and a certain something. And no, the biggest teachers on the planet are like walking hands in hands with us at any stage, in any shape, in any form. And they have so much to say to this world. And you are one of these people, and I really, really, really value you. I want to watch one of your podcasts.
Oh, you make me feel so amazing. I love the light that you spread. Please don't ever stop doing that.
Okay, I have 2 questions. I totally forgot what was the question.
Don't worry, I'll repeat it for you. I just wanted to find out what your thoughts of the topic of spirituality and how and the role that it's played in your life.
All right, cool. Definitely on my Maslow pyramid, that's at the basics. It's not the food and sex for me. It's spirituality. And it was funny because I was born in an Orthodox church. Granddad on my dad's side used to sing in the church, a very important position there. My granny and granddad used to take me to church every day. So Romania is a nice, beautiful country, and they turn back to God for every challenge that they have. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, depending on, because I have my own thoughts between religion and spirituality. But that was my basic. That was in my darkest moments as a child, though, when I was, I had fear at night because of the dark. What my family would say is like, it's all right, as long as you're with yourself, as long as you're with Jesus, as long as you keep God in your heart, nothing can hurt you. And that got drilled into me so deeply that it helped me understand there's something bigger than me. Of course, I had to learn all of the prayers and blah, blah. But then the Bible was my first tool to go back and get some wisdom for life. And then there's a next stage after that, because it's like peeling off an onion. So you start with something from the outside, with Jesus or Muhammad or something, going to the teachings that they left written, and then you keep peeling and you understand, oh, hold on, all of this is within me, I just need to access it. So there is a stage where we have to learn it from the outside until you wake up and understand it on the inside. And that thing, that there's something there that I can lean on unconditionally, no matter what, no matter who I am, no matter how many mistakes I make, no matter what choices I make on this planet, I can just turn to that power and I get the guidance. That was, for me, was a lifesaver. Because like when I was in the depression, I was like driving my convertible car and, by the beach, and all my dreams came true. But 22? That's pretty good, for someone from my background. And I was like, all right, if I push this pedal, the accelerator, I can go straight into the sea and all of this pain stops. And then there's the thought, that you can't do that. You can't really do that because it's not right from someone with an Orthodox background, because you're going to end up in hell, right? That didn't work. But then I came across Conversations with God, and Neil Donald Walsh has a forum where he can actually speak to people. And someone asks, so what happens to people that commit suicide? And that was for me, I tried all the therapies, I tried everything. And that was for me the line that changed everything. Oh, it's all right. If you decide to commit suicide, you will actually incarnate again in a even more worse circumstances than what you chose for this life, so you can be helped to
Doing that
awaken and
lesson,
do
yeah.
and make up for the things you didn't make out. Close the book. I was like, Mom, I don't have any of those thoughts anymore. let's go on with life. It's such a beautiful gift. It really is. I don't know. It's like the air for me. I don't, because when you're connecting to that, you spot lies from miles away, including your own lies. You know who to lean on, who not to lean on. You know if you are meant to change a career or not. You know if you're meant to be in a relationship or not. Like, you have access to everything, and there's no right or wrong as long as we are. And the amazing thing that it gave me was this power that we especially use at the retreats, when you become bigger than what you are and you become like a tool. And I have this enormous power because we don't eat for 5 days. We work non-stop. Right? Someone from the outside would say, oh my God.
You feel crazy.
And you don't feel that. All you feel is joy. The only thing you feel is joy. And it's just I didn't realize by me doing that because what this spirituality allows you to do is to put yourself in a place of service every single moment of your life, whether you're in service for yourself, by making the right choices, or in service to others. And I didn't know that was my cure for healing my chronic fatigue, my depression, because it gives you something bigger than you. And by the time you repeat that enough times, you became a different person, and you don't even, So I believe all the healing tools, everything comes from that source. I don't know if that asks you questions, like you're going rounds and rounds.
And it's amazing how you just know, like the answer. It's when you're a child, you're always asking why this way, why that, and it doesn't really make sense to you. I never question. If I connect to source, I never question if it's right or wrong. It's I just know it's there, and it is what it is. It's so powerful, and
it gives you strength. Like, I think strength on this planet, it's a planet of contrast, and the contrast can be as day and night. And when it's night, sometimes it can be, if you know how to look in the beauty of the night, then that's cool. But if you don't, then that's frightening. And I think that's what's giving me power to understand more and understand that everything is perfect. And I would have lost my mind had I not had that connection to have these 3 people going in 1 year. I'm like, sometimes I laugh about it. Because when you're connected, you understand this is a game, and you suffer, and then you see that the suffering is just a program, because we haven't been taught on this planet what else to do when something like that happens, right? So pain is non-negotiable, but suffering is optional. Pain will happen several times throughout life, but suffering is just a choice. So yeah,
that's it. I have another question for you. I want to know what your perception of frequency and energies are. In obviously the detox, you have specialized machinery that reads chakras. I've never seen this before. I'm so impressed about. I don't even know what they're called, to be honest with you. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of insight as to the readings that you guys do at the detox, and how frequency and energy also work.
Yeah, sure. So there's 2 questions. When I met Skip, there was none of these readings as part of the event. I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, people need to see. You don't understand what you've done to me. After these 5 days, you don't understand. I'm not the same person. You don't get it. We needed to have it on paper. You have to put it there in front of someone, because otherwise we take for granted the hard work that we do, and we don't know exactly where we come at and how we live and what we need to do. And keep on track. And I was like, you don't understand. You're so up there with your guides and your connection and spirituality, and we're so jealous of you, but we need tools to actually help all of us ground. So I've been doing some research. It was one of our ex-managers that helped me to find this first machine. Todd Cabra, might know her. We've got this first one. Now we're doing research on another one. They're bioresonance machine by default. Now we're getting a medical one. That's super expensive. It's around 50K from the new school of German medicine that can also put frequency into people's bodies, right? So we want to implement that at the retreat. You lay on a blanket, that machine looks at, so what basically it does, it looks at where in your body some organs, some areas lack energy, and where is too much energy. And that's what we've seen on the readings. You've seen people on the minus when they don't have enough energy, resources, nutrients, the right thoughts, the right emotions, the right sleep to perform the basic metabolic functions of the body. And then you see them on the plus, like just about to explode into a cancer, just about to explode into something a little bit more uncomfortable to deal with on the planet, right? So they help us. Of course, these tools are amazing and these machines are amazing. What we want to show everyone is that everything you need to go from this minus to the norm, or from the super under pressure body and system that you have back to the norm, all you need is to go back to the self. And that's what we do during the 5 days, getting super reconnecting with the creator, letting go of all the things that don't serve, creating the right environment for the body to heal, for the mind to heal. And these tools, these machines are absolutely amazing. I believe every doctor should have that before prescribing even a paracetamol, to be honest. And there's some of them are. We've just been back in Romania with my old friend cardiologist. I think he spent 60 years getting all of the certifications and studying and blah, blah. And they said, oh my God, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So there are basic bioresonance machines that help us see exactly what's happening within the body. They're connected to softwares where med people, doctors, they do continuous research. I don't think we had a chance to show you guys, but it's like a 46-page report to see all the bacteria in your body, all the, amino acids, the level of them, what's lacking, what's not lacking. And of course you can, the beauty part of that is you can do that and keep an eye on what's in your body, what's a repeated pattern. So, you maybe want to have to eat more oranges to keep your vitamin C level up, because that's a predisposition. But the idea is and as you've seen at the events, we're looking, okay, so how comes the body comes and tells us, I'm on the minus. Where in your life do I give more than what I have at my own expense? Because when you go to the root of what's happening, none of these extra things that we had to build outside of the body are actually needed. Because you just go inside and you deal with what's happening, like the roots in a garden, you take them out. And then you have the awareness of learning sometimes how to say no to some places, situations. Empaths usually do that. They're yes people to begin with, and the opposite. And the frequencies, it's a way of living. You see, in ayahuasca, in one of the ceremonies, maybe that's the easiest way I can explain how I perceive frequencies to be. In one of the ceremonies, I had the honor to meet my dad, because when someone just dies on a road at 6 o'clock, sunny, straight road, maximum 30 per hour, it just doesn't make sense, right? So we women, we make sense of the reality when we understand why, when, and how. So the more of why and the when and the how we have in our brain, the more peace we that's the way we're built to make sense of life. By understanding, by using logic, right? And I had the honor to receive answers. He just took over my body and showed me exactly how it happened. And one of the things he's mentioned in that whole ceremony was that reality doesn't happen the way we know it, from A to B to C to D, from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening. The reality happens at the same time. Everything is possible at the same time. There is a reality right now with me and you sitting here, and there is a reality where we're being bombarded in another part of the world, and there is a reality where superstars and whatever, all of them are actually happening at the same time. And my dad helped me understand that, and that's what happened with his dad, because one of the things he's mentioned was when his parents passed within the course of a year, very unexpected, he's planted the seed in his subconscious mind of, I don't want to live anymore, right? 10 years into that, and that was the big message that I would share with everyone that comes into my awareness. Make sure you know what seeds are planted in your subconscious mind, because once the seed is planted and it's watered, whether we're aware of it or not, because that's the tricky part. Oh, but I didn't know. It doesn't work for the universe. Oh, I didn't know. Awareness is not bliss.
Whether intentions, if you're not aware of your intentions, it can really work to your disadvantage.
And you've done this, no? You mentioned about a thought fasting, where you have to be very aware of what you think, and when you go astray, start from
And
scratch.
it's so hard to do mind fast. Like I've started over 100 times already because you don't realize that those thoughts just come in and you're actually, it's part of your daily programming and you don't actually realize that you need to be aware of them and stop that and actually process them differently, turn them into a positive notion and not a negative one. It's really hard, but I'll get there. You
It
watch the
is.
space.
Well, the thing with the thought, we have millions of thoughts coming every single second, you know, because people might say, oh, but how do I manage? There's so many thoughts. No, of course, that's how we're designed. The tricky part is if the thought is associated with emotion, then the emotion expresses into the body and to the physical reality. So as long as there's no emotion, you know, and that's the tool, you know, because people say, oh, but I have so many thoughts. Yeah, but what's the thought that makes your heart shrink, gives you a headache? What's the thought that has a reaction within your body? That's the thought you actually have to pay attention to. So that was my dad's message. Make sure you know exactly what kind of seeds are planted in your subconscious mind, because he said, I had that seed in there before I knew it was watered. And that's what planet is, cause and effect. There's nothing, it's so simple. Existence on this planet is so simple. It's a cause and effect. So when the time of reaping whatever has been harvested came, he was going to die either way, because before that he had cancer overnight. Of course, he's a master in, used to be a master in healing the body, and he's healed the body instantly from cancer. You could, oh my god, like he's cut his face, has healed it overnight. I fell down on the motorbike with him, I burned his leg, I had to go to the hospital. He's healed that overnight. So he's mastered that, right? And he's explained to me, honey, the thing is I would have been gone either way, because when the effect of our causes happen, there's nothing we can do about that but surrender and take ownership for what has happened. Because I never could explain to myself why I don't want to just kill that woman, you know, that killed my dad. I never had this kind of, I was like, 84 years old, bless her, you know, what else? Horrendous. But normally, a normal healthy emotion is, I want to do the same harm to her that she's done to my whole family, right? And then to the system, and then to all of that. I was so grateful I didn't have to go through that. And he was so clear. He said, when that happened, I would have died either way. But then, and that's what frequency is, I picked from what's available the death that was going to serve my family the most. So that was one of the ways, because he exited from cancer, and that's a pragmatic thing. We wouldn't have any financial support from his death, right? We would just be there in the hospital. But he's organized everything, you know, because then that's the frequency. You can pick your experience in life. So there's as many emotions as we have, as many frequencies, you know, we start, and at the end of the day, it's only two of them. It's either the two main frequencies for me, the frequency of love or the frequency of fear, which is the frequency of being connected or the frequency of being disconnected. And in between, there is a range that we experience. And you will see, like, I tested, I'm so sneaky sometimes, to be honest. I tested with people, and I use Ho'oponopono, right? I do it a lot. So something happens in business, in whatever, and usually that should give tension in between people, arguments. It's the typical thing that happens on our day-to-day life, right? And I know that's the frequency that's being co-created, because a wound in me, as much meditation as I do, I still have wounds. So a wound in me opens the door for that to happen. So when that happens for me, then I attract certain reality, or certain realities like that. And that's the frequency where things are being, hey, give just. So that's the reality, my point of creation, right? When someone very angry, an angry client, an angry partner, an angry something, an angry lover, right? I'll test that with my partner. He wakes up in a certain disposition, because we're all humans, and then I have the power to join in that frequency and end up with an argument, which we've done hundreds of times and we've seen it doesn't work and it affects the body. Or I go quickly to my tool, which is Ho'oponopono. Whatever God, universe, whatever, create this from my lineage, from my family. I didn't have to know what it is. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I say that, I stay in that meditation. And even when I talk to you, if something goes wrong, I'll just do that. And that helps me move to a better reality. And that's the frequency. How do you choose to live in life? And there are so many tools on this planet to help you jump from one to another. And then to understand that this is actually working and I'm the one creating it, I would say something when everything is at peace and nice, I would say something nasty to draw back into the argument frequency and then do Ho'oponopono just to prove to myself, this is real. So really try it. Like you can jump from one to another and you have the power to do it.
I feel like I've already done that because I used to react so differently to things. And they don't trigger me as much. It could be a whole lot of other healing that I've done, but definitely got to do with frequency and energy as well. What do you want to waste your energy on? That's what I always say. Choose wisely.
That's very wise what you said. I think one of the great masters on this planet, it's a couple that we work with, and they help us understand more of the planet. I think they help me understand that when we are born, we come onto this planet with a budget. As we have a budget in a bank account or a budget for the week or for the month, we have an energetic body for this life. And where you want to use those coins from your budget, if you want to waste them on fighting with people or dwelling in self-hate or criticism or whatever the wound is for each and every single one of us, or you want to use that coin to invest it into love and forgiveness and a better experience in life, either way, that budget will go out. It will run out before we know. So it's very similar to what you've just said.
And I feel like you've got such a great purpose. Most people don't even know what their purpose is. But how did you find your purpose, or how did it find you, and what does it mean to you doing what you're doing in life right now?
It's so funny you say I know my purpose. I have no clue what my purpose is. I have all of these days, all of this, what do you want from me? But I made peace. I have lots of gifts. As a woman on this planet, with my shape, my age, my everything, I feel very gifted. I felt I wasted, let's say, lots of my gifts as well, because when the wisdom comes, you go back and see it. My biggest teacher, and that was pain of all sorts, physical, emotional, depression, all of that. I only have one, I can call it purpose. Let's say the thing that keeps me when I have a big why and I don't know what to do. What am I meant to do now? Well, there's only one thing I'm meant to do, is to be fully present in the moment and make sure that with whatever I have available within me, I choose the best for me in the moment. And my only purpose is to choose love over everything, and whatever unfolds outside, I think that's mastering life, what kind of experience you have, because I had it when I've been on the magazine covers and oh my god, my dream, my purpose is to be a supermodel and use it, and what?
I really don't think that's good. Healer and connector. Definitely.
And then I thought my purpose was actually to heal people, and it's ridiculous. You can't heal anyone. Let's get it clear, right? There's the person that tells you exactly what you can do, and I'll tell you that's what I do at the retreats, and it gives me so much joy to have the honor to do that. All you can do is, obviously, when you work on the wounds on yourself, and there is no way you escape that, especially with plant medicine and vipassana and continuous hard work on yourself. Once you've been through that and you've uncovered something in you, people in your life with the same wound will be attracted, so you can pray for them. So you will see the wound from miles away. All you can do is to hold the space. What do I say by praying? I don't say, you can pray in whatever way you think. It's just sending the trust and the love that that person has everything they need within them, and calling in their angels, calling in their ancestors. We have so many of the people that transition on the other side and just like knocking on the door. They only need us to open the door for them to jump in and help us, And it's so weird because sometimes it happens to me, like we're in a business meeting and then, one of the business partners goes through something very challenging in their life, and the granny that has transitioned 20 years ago comes and says, tell him he's not losing his mind and it's not something wrong with him, and I'm here to help him. How do you even stop in the middle of such a conversation But as you said, when you know and you say it, that person melts. So it's only praying, only actually using the love that you've provided to yourself and redirect some of that to the person in front of you, full confidence and trust that whatever needs to happen, they can find that within them and help them take it to the next level. And that's all you can do on this planet, anytime, wherever we go. That's the only purpose we all have. Because we never want to come back on this planet. Trust me.
That's definitely a
It would be
different
so
way
much
of looking at it. I've actually never, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, I wanted to find out what would you say to someone currently experiencing an awakening or, feeling like, when you first, there's something more and you've heard about meditation, you pick up on all these things and you just know that there's a deeper spiritual, I don't know, connection with you and the earth. And people will get lost, they don't know if they're crazy, they don't know where to go or what to do. What advice would you give to someone who's, only waking up now?
The first word that comes is buck up. Because
I
once it
love
starts,
Buttercup.
honestly, once it starts, everything you know, everything you've been aware of, certain of, your world will go upside down to begin with, and that's very frightening. And it's a few feelings, if maybe a quick guide that I can use to understand where am I starting this, or do I want to start this? You have the feeling that something has started to happen and you'll never be the same person. And then it's usually in a chapter where you feel you lost your mind, you feel you lost your senses, you feel you're crazy most of the times. People that you used to love will be taken away from your life. Lovers, everyone literally can turn against you, away from you. And they're all blessings. They're all blessings, right? There's
Yes.
no way, like even Jesus, there's no way these people would have done
Laura,
it.
a few months ago, I would have said to you, it's not a blessing, but it is. It is because you really do start to love yourself. You have no choice but to start to love yourself, which is a big
You
part
know
of
what's
something.
happening? It's like scrapping everything away from you, and what's left at the end, even your ego will leave you. Even you will feel like dying. You will feel, I'm not the same person, I'll never be the same person. You will feel like a failure to begin with. It's such a painful process. But again, what is at the end of it? You can't put in words. At the end of it, well, I know what it is. It's everything you've been asking for your whole life. Everything your heart, not your ego. Everything the peace, the friendships, the career, the inner awareness. Whatever you've been really, really wanting to experience on this life. That one kind of loving relationship, that one connection with your parents, whatever was impossible to that point, if you have the power, and that's what I have to say, keep your faith in yourself, keep your faith in your guidance. Everyone has a guidance, and that guidance speaks to you non-stop, 24/7. It's like non-service call, 24/7. Listen to that. And that what really helped me actually was, there are people, places, and environment. Of course, I'll say Skip, because that's what came across my awareness. Skip has actually 12 months dedicated to spend with people to help them through that transition. And don't do it alone. It doesn't have to be Skip. I'm just saying it's Skip because
No,
that's what
of
it was for
course.
me.
I mean, I would
But
choose. Even your yoga, your meditation, the way you guys helped me on the detox. It's important. It's important to quiet that mind. It's important to do all the things that you guys are teaching. So I definitely would so do that for 12 months and skip. Definitely.
it's just it's like learning. It's like you're back in kindergarten, and it can hit you, the awakening, when you're 18, when you're 50, when you're 60. It usually hits most of, I think, the repeated pattern on this planet. It hits them in their mid 40s, 50s, when they get divorced, when they don't like their career, when that's when it doesn't matter the age. It hit me in my early 20s. It doesn't matter the age. The pain is the same, right? The pain is literally the same. And there's no way but through it. And there are people, that's what I'm saying, do ask. if you're lost, just ask universe, God, just say, I'm lost, bring me the people, places and situations that can help me move through this. And that's how I manifested something like Skip. Someone like Skip, right?
I can
I'll
tell
tell
you
something
plenty of
so
times
funny.
I've done that, and I've manifested people in my life still now, my career, all of it, by just asking. People, you'd be surprised how many people don't ask, and they're not specific about what they're asking. Ask specific questions and for specific signs, and the universe answers you. It really does.
Well, it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran. Ask and it's given. And if you don't ask, it's like everyone, all of this life happens for you, not against you. Everything is there ready. Like I remember, honestly, I was so lonely at the stage. It's not, and I wasn't lonely. Everyone was around me, even my old friends, but I felt so lonely and disconnected from them, which is just an illusion. That when I started to ask, maybe you won't know how to ask to begin with. Just say help. That's the first thing. God, universe, help me out. And it was my dog, my sister's dog, German Shepherd. I was like, I'm feeling so lonely. No one understands me. No one listens to me. And she looks at me midnight, and she nods her head. I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? And she's like, and then I started to get connected with Pleiades and so on and so forth. And you will feel you're losing your mind. You will feel, and then after you surrender to the process, you will start to find. If you're like me and you need proof, scientific proof, you will start to find research done and scientific proof that on all the things that you think are crazy, you will go closer and deeper into quantum physics. You will go closer and deeper into all of these cause and effects actually explained. So there's nothing woo-woo. Everything is so beautifully designed and clearly designed on this planet. And it's just ask for help. As I said, it's what you're talking about. It's a level of mastering, knowing exactly how to ask and how to manifest. That it takes a little bit of time.
It does.
And you have to
hold practice.
Yeah. Oh my God, especially with boyfriends. Sorry to bring that onto the surface, but you make the
I do find men are a little bit, the men especially in all generations, are a little bit more resistant.
Yeah. Because
You
may ask, I want a partner to love and spoil me, to, I don't know, what the illusion of the women usually. All of that. And then two things will happen. Once, you will manifest exactly what you asked. Sorry.
Okay, happy birthday. They're happy to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. You will manifest exactly the same thing, and you missed on asking for him to be compassionate, understanding, for him to have love. Because if he doesn't have self-love, he won't be able to hold the space for you've been so asking for, right?
Yeah.
Or number two, we will manifest exactly what we asked for when you go into, okay, I want to experience a relationship where I learn what it is to be whole, what it is to be independent, what it is to be grounded, what it is to co-create, what it is to have freedom, right? And then you manifest someone that will bring every single wound up to the surface. They will leave you, they will abuse you, they will, to begin with, they will do all the nasty things for you to actually heal those things in your body that you haven't dealt with in order to experience that. And there is one thing, if people stick around and they don't do these things of changing them like every day, changing partners every 2-3 months and putting the blame on the other, if they find the power to stick together, what at the end of it, it's a long lifetime lasting relationship where all the things you've been asking for are coming up. But it can't happen until we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly is being brought up to the surface. So you will just jump from one partner to another, asking for the same things.
Today, Laura, this is impactful. This is so impactful. I needed to hear this today. Carry on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Because it's so easy, especially when we're dwelling the frequency of blame and not taking full ownership for our life. It's always to say, yeah, but he's an abuser and he's a narcissist. Come on, I'm so tired of this story with narcissism on this planet. Everyone has the capacity. Everyone has the capacity to be a narcissist and an abuser. Everyone. Depending on which button you push in your partner. If you don't contain within yourself the capacity of being a narcissist, you'll never push it in your partner, so your partner will never reflect it back. I had it in the law firm. The biggest abuser on the planet has, and I actually have a story about that. You will never be on the receiving end of it because it's not within you. So, just sidebar, quickly. When lockdown happened, I just felt I gotta go to Ibiza. I gotta get out of it. I booked my flight to Ibiza, not knowing where I go. Just booked a ticket, booked an Airbnb. Came across a lady that said, "Oh, do you know about these underground parties?" I was like, "Are they legal?" And they're everywhere. In the basement of the houses, totally illegal. Illegal because of the lockdown, right? There was nothing. And I end up there, they collect your phone. No, first you have to go to a parking, then they pick you up with a car, then you have to leave your phone at the entrance. I'm not smoking, I haven't done drugs, I haven't done anything. So I ended up in that place where it was sex and drugs and rock and roll and cocaine and all of that. And I was shitting my pants, I swear to God. And I couldn't leave until 6 o'clock, right? And I couldn't stay outside because it was cold. So whether I wanted or not, I had to stay there inside. So the organizer of the party, apparently, him and his partner have this thing. I don't know what happens with
Every
balloons.
time you do this.
Okay, I'll keep it to that. Every party, they pick up a partner for the other one to sleep with the other, which is too much for my little brain to even get it. Like, I'm so simple as a person. I have so many emotions to deal with myself that I don't have the energy to live exuberant life outside of my own self, right? So apparently the woman picked me, and it's like in the movies, they take me in the back room of a back room of another back room, and here I am with that guy, right? And it was clear. I was like, I can't even make love to someone if I have a long list of things to be ticked before that, right? And I was so shaking my pants because it would have been total abuse there, right? And I remember, if I have God within me, nothing can happen to me. Have a God, so right. So eventually, the conversation derailed into spirituality, if you can believe it or not, right? It's and then he gave up. He literally gave up, and he got pissed off with me. Of course, he kicked me out of the party in the rain. It doesn't matter because he said I'm of no use
I'd
that
rather
night.
be kicked out
But
than forced to do something I don't want to do, you know?
of course. And then eventually the driver organized one of these big beautiful cars with a beautiful dog to pet and relax until I made it back. So that's the power that we have within us. It really is. Sorry, sidebar closed.
No, I love these stories. I mean, obviously I only booked you for an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but your knowledge, I love it. You're so young. You're younger than me, and I just feel like you understand so much, and it's so inspiring to meet someone at your age that just has so much understanding of the universe and source and connection and human. Actually, I wanted to ask you, what is your thoughts on human ego and how it can actually be holding people back in life?
My thoughts on, sorry, I missed that.
On human ego and how it holds people back.
Oh,
You'd love that one.
yeah. Well, first things first, I think from what I've experienced, ego has been so stigmatized, like a bad thing, and I gotta kill your ego, and men are so much in the ego, that's why they never listen to the women, and ego everywhere, right? But the truth is we actually need an ego for this planet, because if we don't have an ego, we wouldn't have the capacity to run away from immediate danger. If you didn't have an ego, if a house is set up on fire by mistake, you wouldn't have the self-preserving mechanisms to just, I don't want this to happen to me, right? So I do want to give some knowledge, and some acknowledgement around ego. That is important, and it plays its role. And it's very much like the mind. It has to be shifted and shaped and polished, and it has to become the servant of our own spirit. So if we have the power within ourselves to kindly have a one-on-one with our ego and mind and body to say, okay, guys, the three of you, we're going to now surrender to the spirit, because spirit knows a little bit better than what we know. They're very helpful tools. They help us stand up for ourselves when we need. And some people, like super uber empaths, it's a lesson for them to develop an ego that will actually give the space and the boundaries that they need on this planet. I think so. I'm not saying I'm right. That's what I feel. And then, of course, is the ego that we know that can cause wars and can cause people to break families and divorce and all of that. We also have that flip side of the coin with the ego. But at the end of the day, I think the more you're in the spirit, the more the mind and the ego and the body will self-heal and self-adjust to the chapter that you're in.
Yeah, because
and
there's
as
no
long as we're in
not
truth,
anyway.
and ego sometimes it can also be hand in hand with fear, because ego preserves yourself once some danger comes in. What is danger? Danger is fear, right? So if you have a fear of something, ego kicks in. But then you have the gift of awareness through the spirit, through the mind, to evaluate. Because what we've seen on the people joining the courses with Skip, and I think we have very good rates compared to what's on the planet. But you see, there is the call into coming and doing one of the courses, and then there is a financial investment, and the ego and the fear says no, 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 right? And that stops you from actually. You ask for something, and the spirit gives it to you, and then the fear associated with the ego stops you from taking the right step to do that. And it can be with a course, it can be with a business opportunity, it can be with shutting down a business, it can be with starting a new one. The thing is, it doesn't matter the context that life creates for us. All of us go through the same challenges, maybe let's say in a different setup, right? Some of us go through that in a war, which is very painful setup. Some of us go through that in abusive relationships. Some of that go through us in a nice relationship. It's the setup doesn't matter. We all have the same default feelings and default quests to achieve and conquer in this life, right? And one of the things that I've learned, to answer your question about how that can hold you back, I think on the spiritual journey, once you start and once you're very close to break through something that's been so painful for yourself, for your system, and for families behind you and for generations behind you, that's when ego usually kicks in to do everything in their power. And it's like, for instance, before Detox Life or before Amazon or before a big event that we have, you will see ego will manifest things in people's lives so that they don't make it to that event. Flights cancelled, flights not booked. One of my daughters fell ill. The ego, because you're so close to release so many energies and demons and fears and doubts and puke and purge and all of these uncomfortable things to actually set yourself free, the ego will freak out. And there is nothing that it wouldn't try to check from the tools available of how to deroot you from where your spirit wants you to go. And that's what I've seen with the events. But I'm also pretty sure that this plays out in our day-to-day life. If you're meant to take a flight to see a friend that will actually give you some information or put you in a contact with someone that you've been meant to meet for such a long time, I don't feel well today. I just have this headache. I can't make. I have my pains, my period. And any excuse. It's the ego it's to self-preserve. So it doesn't understand that self-preservation, if you want to go to the next level in your life, in your spirituality, in your finances, in everything, the old one has to die. And ego hates death. In ayahuasca, my first ayahuasca ceremony, I swear to God, I must have tried 3 ceremonies before I could surrender to death. And that is such a beautiful process. I think everyone on this planet should learn about what death really is. Because at that time, Granny showed me what it is to die. It was so beautiful. By the time, all you have to do is to trust that you're in the right place. And whenever it happens, it was so beautiful. She just could, it's like coming back to whatever you knew it was bigger than you. And you leave behind the constraints of the mind, of the emotions, of all these pains kind of disassociate with the real you. And you feel so much freedom. That's what death is. That we should be celebrating everyone transitioning. It's so much freedom and so much power that comes back within you. Because this body and this mind and these thoughts, like clothes, there is a stage where they get worn out and we gotta leave them behind in order, it's just, you don't want to wear something that stinks. You just need to let go of it. Yes. And it's coming back to so much freedom that our souls really, really, really felt it's so much needed. and then the ego will kick in. And what do they do? What does the ego do? Keeps you in a hospital, gives you a long disease, because when the body knows, the mind knows when it's time for you to transition. And that's when ego can also work against you. When it's time for you to become everything and everyone and become one with everything, it kicks in of preserving. Let me do this and let me stay in the hospital and let me do that, instead of just allowing you to have a nice transition. And it's beautiful. I actually recommend to everyone to have one of these ceremonies once in their life, because mine
And
lasted like for 3 hours.
you guys also host these events in Amazon, and do you do it anywhere else? Can people find you easily if they wanted to do a ceremony?
We do it once a year in the Amazon. Because we want to keep it the sacred space. We can't afford to have it interfered with the energies of the city and all of that. We just have our land, we have the tribe, everything. We go once a year there. We have to rebuild everything. It's not a project that pays financially. It's a project that pays us back emotionally and spiritually. So we only do it once a year for 15 days. It's a long commitment even for us with everything that's running. And
So weird, I'm sure.
And it's so beautiful because you will see there your ego straight like that. You're gonna have to look at it and to say, no, we're dying. And for a few moments, it's just for a few moments, a blink of an eye, that everything stops in your system, and then you get reborn to the next version of yourself. So there's so many people on this planet that can experience that before it happens, and it's a little bit of an insight of what it is to come after. And the ego, there is two things: the voice of the ego and the voice of God. The voice of the ego will stop you from taking uncomfortable action to become bigger, and the voice of God will push you through that uncomfortable action, that uncomfortable relationship, that uncomfortable chapter to become bigger. So yeah.
And then also, what is on the cards for this year still, so that my viewers can obviously see you and get excited about what's up and coming in Lara and Skip's life in terms of your events.
Who knows? we gave up on planning. Of course, there is a Detox live coming, and there is, we're coming there for, oh my God, Supercharger. That's such a beautiful, okay, for people who, that's such a beautiful event. For people who've never experienced deep levels of awakening and they just started, that's such a funny, happy way of starting the awakening or starting your first steps in the awakening. That's so much fun, and that's so much energy. That's so nice. That's like a baby compared to Amazon and Detox. In the range.
Little taste.
It's so beautiful. That's so much fun to be going through those 3 days. So that's happening with you guys. Also, for the people that can't make it there, we have an online version of it the week after, so we can allow more people to.
And that's going to be in Johannesburg from September and August.
Yep, that's true.
So you're arriving in August, and you'll stay until September, till the event. So I'll share all those details with everyone, and if I can tag you. And Lara, thank you so much for this and sharing all your insights. And I just have so much love for you. Honestly, from the moment I met you, I feel like you're a sister to me. I love it. Thank you for honoring me with your presence today.